All right, welcome back to another episode of Philadelphia Eagles Talk with Geoff and Matt as we head further into the training camp season, week 2. The Eagles playing in the heat, which is good because I think they play week 4, is it, in Tampa? They play early in the season down there again, so it's usually hot early in September. So this training will certainly, in this heat, will certainly help them prep for that game and be prepared for it. Eagles playing well, looking really good. Not a lot to really. I mean, this has just been one of those camps where just everything just seems to be, and I'm knock on wood, just don't want to jinx it, but just smooth sailing. No controversy, as we'll get into a little bit with the some of our divisional rivals. But other than that, all good reports. I mean, everyone seems to be. There's some surprises we'll talk about in camp. Some little nitpicks of information. Matt, to start us off, any opening thoughts?
Well, I think the biggest buzz the last week, and I just think it's because people have nothing else to talk about, but it's like Jalen Hurts, his accuracy. If he has a bad practice, everyone's like, see, he's the quarterback we said he was. He can't, he's not, he's this, he's that, he's the other thing. And I'm like, is the guy not allowed to have like an off day at practice? I'm like, I just don't understand all.
Doesn't make any sense now.
I guess I get it because none of the folks talk football to just talk truthful football. They just talk it all for clickbait now. So I get it why the stories are created and why they go, but I'm like, there is no real football analyst out there who's worth their salt who says Jalen Hurts or is even questioning whether or not Hurts can be an NFL quarterback. It's all the rest of the clickbaiters. I mean, people like us that are trying to start podcasts based on likes and untruths and click my buttons versus, well, the truth is, it's the offseason
here with a bunch of clickbait garbage just to get views. We don't do that. That's the difference between this podcast and many others out there. We don't get into speculation a lot. We just talk. We try to keep it real here. That's really the distinguishing and I guess advantage of listening to this podcast. So make sure while we're on the subject, like and subscribe. Hit the buttons. Takes 2 seconds. Hit it. Subscribe. All right, continue, Matt.
Yeah, we're not beyond trying to promote our own truthful podcast or show here, but I just, it's so much like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm so frustrated by it sometimes where I'm like, what are you even posting? And there's going to be a million people clicking on this because they're like, what? He did what? And it's like, yeah, he just didn't have the sharpest day.
Yeah.
Does it mean he's not going to be the best possible quarterback for the Eagles this year? I'm like, not even close. Like, it's like wasted time, in my opinion, is what it is. Now, that's the one story I don't pay much attention to, but when you're talking about the younger guys that are unproven and they're going through camp for the first time, like that's where the story should be at. Like, let Hurts go. And if people wanted to spend more time focusing on good things, like write about some of these no names that have a chance to make the roster. So that's where my focus is for this time. I'm like, the quarterback touches the ball every play. He's going to touch the ball every play of every game. And if he has an off day, guess what? Quarterback's going to look bad. But is he going to have 9 out of 10 awful looking days? No, he's going to have 9 out of 10 good days. So
and it's training. So just like you're not going to go crazy about, and early on they were actually some of the beat writers of the Eagles. Oh, the ball hasn't even touched the ground.
Exactly.
They're playing so amazing. I'm like, they're not tackling. They're not, it's just 7-on-7s. Let's just pump the brakes on how we. First of all, you don't have to praise Hurts anymore anyway. The guy has already been to 2 Super Bowls, has outperformed Patrick Mahomes in both of them.
Yep.
He's won a Super Bowl last year. I mean, it's been said and done about Hurts. I mean, I know that I got caught, and I try not to get caught up in it anymore, but I happened to catch one article that was on Facebook or social media this week, and I made a comment. I forget what it was about. But whatever comment I made, I think you made a comment after mine saying something else. I forget what it was. But I noticed that you commented after me, like a day later or whatever. It was just another stupid thing like, oh, Hurts is not a top 10 quarterback or something like that. And I'm like,
okay.
It's not even worth my effort, even in the 2 minutes I even spent even responding to it. But I'm just like, it's amazing how Eagles fans, and some of them are Eagle fans,
Yeah.
even criticizing Ertz. But it's like, what more does the guy got to do? These are probably the same people that hated McNabb his entire career.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on it. Let's talk about the guys that are kind of surprising. And I'm going to start off with one. And Matt, I know you got one you want to talk about, but I'm going to talk about a guy that's impressed me so far. And I want to get his name right because he's got a weird first name. Smeal Mondon. He's one of the linebackers they got out of Georgia.
Yeah.
First of all, I thought he was like a little small guy. I mean, I think he's short, but the dude is jacked. I don't know if he caught his press conference this week, Matt, but he's having a really good camp, and he's a smart guy. You can just tell by the way he talks. He understands the game, and I think this guy might be – I mean, this is amazing because we spent how many years like begging the Eagles to get some linebackers? How many years did we just like, man, would they just get some freaking linebackers in here? And finally they got Edwards, who had a good, few year run here. And then after that, I mean, the Eagles have really started pouring into the linebacker position. I think it's a lot has to do with Vic, especially in recent years. I think Vic's defense needs good linebacking to work.
Yep.
But think of the depth. I mean, everyone is really praising, speaking of praise, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is getting a ton of like, wow, this guy, he doesn't have he's not the greatest athlete at running back, but they say he is not being beaten by anything in coverage. He's there. He may not make the play because he's a little short or someone outleaps him, but he's there. They're saying he is there, and he's reading and very quickly. So Trotter is having a very strong camp, which is good. I mean, you kind of almost expect that. You don't think Trotter's going to go down without a fight. Not with Trotter's genes, right. Because Trotter knows that he's got a lot of competition there. Even without Kobe Dean being ready to go, he's got Jihad Campbell coming in. You've got obviously Bond there. So he knows he's got to perform, and he's doing very, very well. He really is having a strong camp from all reports. And this is not people just praise him. This is like guys that are not even necessarily Eagles beat reporters that are just observing Eagles camp, talking about how Trotter is really, really playing well. So it's good to hear because they have they're going to have depth at linebacker, and that's not even including this Mondon guy, who's to me he's playing really well too. So
and they signed a free agent in the offseason, so they've got it's well stocked right now.
So linebacker, I think, and this is kind of almost building to your point last week in the episode that I kind of I was telling you to pump the brakes because you were saying how this defense you think is going to be as good or even better than last year. And I'm like, whoa. But
100%.
The more I kind of like look into this, I'm not quite to that point yet, but I think I was a little too fast to tell you to pump the brakes because I think it's possible. It's not like it's not possible. I don't want to. I think that the way if Ojomo could do what he's doing right now, and he's another guy that's impressing so far, getting pressure, he said, and again, they're not even playing or making contact yet, but they're saying that he is really doing well, and all these guys are playing against the best offensive line in the league. So Ojomo's going against, Landon Dickerson. He's going against, so he's not going to face anybody better than that in the league. So he's playing well. Jordan Davis is saying is really, playing, having a good camp also. And Smith and, of course, Hunt are also. So if those guys can stay healthy, and I'm a firm believer in Ojomo. I still think the verdict's out on Davis to see if he can make that next big step that he needs to take. But Ojomo, I think, is going to be fine. And I think Nolan Smith and Hunt, as long as they're healthy, they're going to be fine. The linebackers, I really like our linebackers, and obviously our secondary is very solid with Cooper, with Mitchell, and we'll see what happens in the other cornerback spot. And I'm really starting to hope that Brown is going to win that starting job. We'll see. Long way to go yet to see if he's going to be able to do that. But I really want Brown to Sydney to get a real shot here at the starting safety position. And he's got a shot now because, what's his name's injured. So he's missing a few days, which is critical in a rookie season. So
Sydney Brown's future is absolutely up to him.
Yeah, it's now.
There comes out and overplays everything and doesn't get starting role, or he learns how to contain his chaos a little bit and becomes an impact player. that one's going to spell itself out, I think, without much impact.
Yeah, and I think Sydney is smart enough to recognize that he can't be just, balls out trying to kill everybody, because Vic doesn't like that type of player. He doesn't mind the aggressiveness. He likes that, but you have to be smart, and you got to be able to make the tackles, the sure tackles, and not just, miss a guy because you're trying to hit him 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So I think Sydney understands that. He's a smart player. Now, he says all the right things, but this is a guy that I think gets into the game and he gets so hyped up, it's almost like he forgets about it. So we'll see. But
look,
anyway.
I just think this is only year 2 in Vic Fangio's control as the defensive coordinator for Eagles.
Yeah.
So you had, some vets that left the team, but it took them 6 weeks of last season to learn how to play that defensive style. And once they got it, they got it. There was no more tweaking. And so if guys left, there are still 3/4 of this roster that knows how this defense is supposed to play the way that Vic has schemed it to go. So any of the new bloods that are coming in here, they got 3 or 4 more coaches on the field helping them through where they're supposed to be, all this stuff. Whereas last year they didn't have that. They had to listen to the coach's advice. And sometimes in the middle of
everybody was learning it.
A very busy game with a lot of things going on. Like, it helps to have that player on the field that lean over and say, hey, we're doing this. You remember? Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, we're good. So I just think that is going to have a huge impact. And they just are well stocked with young talent, like natural talent, and all these guys. Like, I read a few more articles this week of players criticizing other players of like, you're in Philly. Like, everyone has bought into this tone of like, oh, like you think you can just kind of slug a play off and not make and not be expected to like run laps or what. Like, this is Philly. The whole mentality has been, this is Philly, suck it up or leave. Like, we don't need you. You want to be a waste of space out here? Like, that ain't Philly. Go to Dallas, go to some other team and dance on broomsticks or whatever, but not in Philly. Philly, you're going to work. And if you throw up, you're going to hydrate and then play and then probably throw up again. So I love that mentality. I think the defense still is going to be one of the best. That if they're not the best, one of the best all time, they're going to be absolutely one of the top 2 or 3 in the league this year, for sure. I have no doubt.
Yeah, well, they were last year, and they ended up being the top defense overall in the league last year as a young defense, and they actually got younger. So, with Brandon Graham retiring, this defense got younger. Sweat moving on. It's amazing. This defense is actually younger than last year. Amazing. It really, and Slay's the other one. I know another old player that moved on. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to be able to keep it all together. This is what I want to talk about, because I'll wait. Let's stay on the topic here. But I have something I definitely want to hit on here later. So, Matt, I know you want to mention. Well, let's stick on defense. Anything else on defense? I like. What was I going to say? Not Cooper. Yeah, I mean, with Cooper, they're moving him around too, and they haven't even ruled out that he might still start as left corner. I don't want that. I really want either. What's the guy? The guy from the Giants there.
Dory Jackson,
or one of these other guys to step up and take that corner. I don't want them moving Cooper to corner. I like Cooper where he is. He could be an impact player deep in the secondary as well as up along the line of scrimmage. He's just so versatile. I don't want to move him. I mean, what are your thoughts on Cooper? Would you want to keep him there, or would you want to see him move the corner if one of these other guys doesn't step up?
Well, I'd rather see him in the slot as well, just because he can tackle. So he's between him and Bond, like those were really the 2 guys that were cleaning up all the chaos from the defensive line.
Yeah, they prevent anything from going outside, either little flat passes or quick slants or stuff like that. Like, they take away that game on the outside.
Yep.
So Bond is there immediately, and Cooper on the other side is there immediately. They stuff those type of plays.
They respond quickly. They don't hesitate. They don't waste time. Right. So ultimately, I think Vic has just given Cooper some time on the outside just to give him some experience there. But I think absolutely Cooper will be in the slot / nickel corner so he can move to different sides of the field, and maybe they start blitzing him more. I don't know. I don't think we're going to see anything exotic coming from the blitz packages. I think Vic Fangio
I'm sure
loves.
they need to.
No, they don't. And
Well, here's the thing: the key will be if Smith, because they got to do it now full time. There's no rotating really. These are the guys. Smith and Hunt have got to be getting the pressure, or of course, you don't have to worry about Carter. He'll get the pressure, and then Ojomo getting some rush, and hopefully Davis can take a step and give a little pass rush too. That's the key. If they're able to still generate that rush, which these guys were able to do in the Super Bowl last year, then to your point, they're not going to have to blitz much.
Yeah. So I don't, I have high hopes for the defense, and as long as people stay healthy and keep positions, they'll be fine. And as these other cornerbacks get more experience, like if we'll see what happens if Eli Ricks hits the field, if Keely Ringo plays more. Like I don't know who, Adoree Jackson seems to not really take advantage of the opportunity, so I'm not sure what to think of him.
But there's nobody who's really taken that that edge yet at that other corner spot. What's his name's been beaten a few times. What's his name there?
I look at guys on the outside, like so. Rasul Douglas is still a free agent, so I'm kind of like, if Adoree Jackson doesn't work out in training camp, like what's the loss to just cut him and bring in another good tackling cornerback? Like
Douglas is still out there.
Well, he's older.
Yeah.
He's old. He's looking for one last deal probably before he signs. But that deal, when you're in his shoes, is always a little bit cheaper if you think you have a shot at winning the Super Bowl with that team. So,
yeah,
I got my eyes on him because I think he was a well-liked player by Howie anyways. He just wasn't going to pay him when he became a free agent. But that's a guy that plays smart, gets interceptions, and make tackles. And I'm like,
yes.
I don't see that being a bad addition. If we feel
he might be asking for too much money, though. I don't know.
He probably is right now, but once we get into the season,
right,
we'll see what happens. A lot of stuff's going to happen in those first few weeks as injuries start piling up and stuff.
So I know you wanted to talk about Marshall on offense.
So Terrence Marshall Jr. is the guy that was getting all the buzz last week and then into this week. And if there's a position that could be won for more playing time, it's that kind of like fourth receiver spot. They use Johnny Wilson when they're in the red zone, and I guess that's fine, but you still don't see him being taken advantage of too much. Like he always seems to have like fumble electricity in his fingers when the ball's coming at him. Like he needs to hug the catch to make it, and has dropped a couple
that doesn't have the.
Yeah, so Terrence Marshall Jr. has been an undrafted rookie free agent that has been getting a lot of praise from AJ Brown. And it's funny because we have Jahan Dotson still, and I expect that he's going to be a big productive
number more
guy. And it's just interesting to see what's happening with Terry McLaurin in DC. And you're like, why? If you're DC, this is where Howie is like 10 steps ahead of everybody. If DC knew that and was paying attention to their roster, that they're like, hey, we're going to have to pay Terry sometime soon, and that clock might be started by Terry and not us. Why would you have traded away the young rookie contract deal? Howie, I swear, like nobody's paying attention to Howie and how he manipulates rookie contracts and gets the most out of those guys.
You would think that the other GMs would start like studying Howie.
Yeah, so you give away Dotson and you're like, you pick up a draft pick to get future draft picks was basically what they were doing. And they turned it into what's his face? They did get a good pick out of that deal. Not McConkey, because McConkey's the Charger. Who's the other young receiver that they drafted last year? Can't think of his name.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, I was watching Chargers football yesterday. What was that?
I said it's mixed something.
Yeah. Anyways, that guy's there, but it's like, okay, you could have had Dotson and that guy, which means you would have had more leverage with Terry McLaurin right now because you just let Dotson roll into that number one position. So, McLaurin's 30 years old, by the way, and it's like, boy, he got old fast. And I guess that's because he was a senior coming out of college.
Yeah, he did.
So, like 30 years old, I think that's why he's stuck not getting the money. But at the same time, if he
was probably was he in college? I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
4 years. He was in college for 4 years. He may have redshirted. Yeah. He's 30 years old, and if he requests a trade, you can't tell me that somebody like the Raiders or the Browns or one of these other teams that are like, oh, we'll take a wide receiver that can easily jump into the number one role. Buffalo Bills.
It's
Do you think
Luke
Buffalo
McCaffrey.
McLaurin?
Luke McCaffrey, Matt. Luke McCaffrey.
Okay, so Luke McCaffrey, he's going to turn out to be fine, but I'm like, he's young, and you could have had more leverage if you just kept Dotson instead of just picking up that extra, power for some future year. But I just don't think that they're being smart with McLaurin, or they feel like they didn't see this coming. And I'm like, you got to know where your player's at and talk a little bit more with their agent. Be like, where are we at? And do we need to deal now, or what? Like, where are we at?
Plus, you bring in a high price. Right. Plus, you bring in a high-priced wide receiver in Samuel.
Yeah. McLaurin's like, where's Mike?
McLaurin. Yeah, exactly.
But the whole offense saved this team with quarterbacks like Taylor Heineke. Like, why are you not paying me? So I don't know if that one's. I still think that one's going to get done, and I'm sure we'll visit Michael.
I think so too. I think Washington will get it done. They have the money to do it. So why they keep dicking around with it, I don't know, but they have the money. So now I do agree with you. I think they're going to figure out how to meet each other and make it happen and keep them in Washington. But we'll see. We'll see. But the other thing is this. Actually, the other situation is this. News to our ears. And boy, do we love Jerry in Philadelphia. Because breaking news today out of Big D is Micah Parsons, the talented linebacker / defensive end, easily the Cowboys' best player, says he no longer wants to play for Dallas, that he is basically sick and tired of these negotiations, doesn't like the way he's being treated, yada, yada, yada. Went to social media, so this is not just rumor. This is fact. He literally posted it from his own Twitter, and it was also cited throughout many of the credible league sources across the league that this is indeed a trade demand by Micah Parsons. Now, could it be one of those negotiation strategies, and he's kind of just, I'm sure he's pissed, but is this just something to get Dallas to get the pen to the paper, or is he really, really serious? Now, it's kind of tough for him to say what he said, like, I don't want to play here anymore. That's like his words. That's kind of tough to now sign a contract and then have to go back to his team and his teammates and kind of have the same chemistry. Those are tough words that he said there. I don't want to be here anymore. So I don't want to play here anymore.
Yeah.
All those type of things. So we'll see. Things can happen and clear up pretty fast, but usually don't hear a player say that or go to that level and say, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to play here anymore. So here's the thing, just real quick, Matt. The thing that I wanted to get at is, as soon as this broke today, you have these moron, and I hate beating up our own fan base, but you have these people on Eagle fans on Facebook, Eagle fans, quote unquote, saying, pick up the phone, Howie, and get a bunch of likes to that response. Now, I wish Eagle fans would just take 2 seconds and think, like, first of all, would it be great to have Micah Parsons on our team? Sure. Do we need him? No. And even if we did need him, would the Eagles be able to afford him in their situation that they're in right now? No. So, but you have Eagle fans going, pick up the phone, Howie. Let's go get him. Micah wants to be an Eagle. And then all these likes and further comments about bringing him to Philadelphia. And I'm like,
no, it's a win.
This is the stuff that just drives me nuts about Eagle fans.
Two things can happen. A, he blows up the Cowboys for an entire season by being like an unsatisfied player, right? And maybe becomes a locker room cancer. Now he's still at camp and showing up and doing all the practices though.
So far,
I think it's totally a negotiating tactic at this point. But you're talking big ego against big ego, and big egos don't like being told that they're not in control. So I don't see this working out well if this is the tactic to deal with getting a new contract with Jerry. And if Jerry trades him, he ain't going to trade him in the division. There's no way he'll do that. So Either way,
Right. That's the other thing.
win.
Yeah.
The way the
That's
Eagles
the other
win on this is just don't call at all. Like, you just let that brew and become a cancer.
Yeah, let it keep let it come to a boiling point and blow the Cowboys season up.
Like, why should we solve the Cowboys problem? That's not
Yeah.
in our interest. So let them sign somewhere else. We have a defense we're confident in. We just won the freaking Super Bowl without.
I'm glad you brought up the excellent third point that you made, because I, for some reason, forgot about that one. And that is, there's no way the Eagles are going to trade him to the Eagles, or the Cowboys are going to trade him to the Eagles. So there's 3 reasons. They can't afford him. There's no way Dallas is going to trade him to the Eagles. And number 3, we don't need him. We were just talking about the depth we have at linebacker. It's not like 10 years ago where we could love to have Micah Parsons here. No, we don't need him. We just won a Super Bowl without him. So anyway.
So there's no need to get involved there.
But for an Eagle fan to post that, one, and then another 200 plus or 300 plus Eagle fans to hit the like button, like, yeah, go get them.
Yeah. Well,
just think, people. Think.
It's not the fan base we want, really. We kind of want smart listeners here listening to real strategies. Look, I love the fact that he's a malcontent at camp right now. And I don't know, like if there were a more experienced head coach running that team to have to go deal with all this stuff, that would be a different situation. But this is one that, like, nope, don't touch the situation. Let this just erupt over the season until the Cowboys are out of it again. And then, you know what? If he's still malcontent, then maybe at week 8, you start thinking about maybe even considering trying to bring him aboard. Yeah. But I still think those other 2 things would happen. There's no way he gets traded in the division, let alone to the Eagles.
No way. And that's another great point you made about the fact that they have a new coach, new defensive coordinator as well. So inexperienced guys trying to just coach for the first season, let alone having to try to mend these type of internal fences. It's just not a good mix. So that's another great point you made there. And
much
different situation in Dallas. They don't have a Parcells there, some strong figurehead that could step into this and say, Mika, shut your mouth, and Jerry, freaking pipe down. You know, there's nothing that going on. They're just going to keep.
No, that's why the situation is completely different between him and McLaurin. McLaurin is on an well-established, experienced coaching staff with Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn, and I eventually think Terry's probably going to go. But here's the deal: Terry requested the trade, so agents are on the phone. If the wide receiver starved teams that are out there are like, we would pay Terry an extra $3 million because we think he's got three years in him. Like, if the sticking price with Terry down here, according to Sports Junkies 106.7 The Fan, the news that came out today was they're guessing that the Commanders are probably around this high 20s number a year, 27, 28 million. And they're like, well, if the counteroffer is 30 million, then maybe they come to an agreement. But if the counteroffers are coming back at like 35 million, it's like, no, no, be smart, stick to your guns and let them walk. But I'm like, but that's the Commanders. And I'm like, if you're a team that thinks you're one wide receiver away, which the first team that pops to me is the Bills. Like, the Bills are right there. They're fighting to try.
The Bills would jump at McLaren for sure.
They can't get past the Chiefs, and yet they trade for Cooper last year. He was worth nothing. They're waiting on Keenan Coleman to develop, who had a good.
He showed some promise.
Yep, but they don't have.
Inconsistent, but some promise.
A consistent receiver like Terry McLaurin makes a lot of sense in Buffalo, and I don't know where they're at in their contract.
Yeah, I agree.
But a team that's willing to give
you wonder if it's a money thing, or because he is 30, like you mentioned, you wonder if he's looking for more like a long-term deal, like a 4 or 5 year deal, and maybe Commanders only want to give him like a 3-year deal, something like that.
Even so, 3 to 5 years, like 5 years, like it's all the signing bonus anyways that matters most. You know, the last 3 years of these contracts don't really matter. So there's no. I see that being a danger. I see there's possibility, even though the Commanders and McLaurin are probably a little bit closer, they have more possibility of other teams interfering with that and being like, yeah, here's an offer. And having that contract worked out pre-trade so that he gets out of there. And even without that, the teams could promise Terry anything he wants and still say, we'll renegotiate you, but get him out of Commanders, and then he'll still play on the rest of his current contract, and then they still might wait to negotiate. So I think that one has some vulnerabilities there where, yeah, maybe Terry doesn't play with the Commanders this year. Whereas Parsons, I think, no matter what, it sounds like it's way worse, but I think it's all fluff on both sides. Like, I don't think Jerry wants to get rid of Micah. I don't think Micah is as serious as he sounds, other than he probably does want to be taken care of as a marquee player. But
don't you think what he said is tough to walk back, though?
Not in today's age.
Really?
Not in today's.
I don't want to be here. I don't want to play here anymore.
Not in today's age. He's talking to his teammates all the time. So, like, these guys are in the locker room, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to blow it up tonight on social media. You watch what I post."
Yeah, I guess
that's I'm going to throw it out there. And the players are just going to be like,
right.
"Of course you would. Why wouldn't you? If you feel like that's what is going to get you the contract." So, no, I don't think there's.
Yeah, I mean, but is he going to come back after he signs and praise Dallas and talk about how much he loves the place and all that?
In today's world, yeah, because you don't have to be tied to what you say in the past. You just keep saying the new thing over and over, and it's truth. So you just do that. It's there's no reality behind what Micah Parsons is doing.
All right. Well, we'll see how this pans out. Either way, we just kind of hope it, like we said, we just hope it keeps simmering to a boil and then eventually runs over, and you got a big mess. That's what we hope for, and that's why we love Jerry Dallas, and we'll see what happens. So, I mean, Jerry just continues to make the same mistake over and over again. You think he'd learn from Dak after waiting on him and then have to sign him for like this ridiculous contract, and now you get the same thing with Parsons because all these other players sign these big deals, and now Parsons going to want more than them, and
and Dallas
could have signed him 2 years ago. An extension. That's what Howie does.
Yep. It's funny.
Howie gets these guys as early as he can.
It's funny to watch,
and it is funny to watch. You think they would learn from Howie? Like, geez, why have the Eagles been successful the last freaking 12 straight years?
But see, this ties back to Jeff Lurie and being a fantastic owner. Any of these other owners that have gotten tired of a GM or thought that they did a bad job, they fire him and they move on. Jeff Lurie said, Howie, go study. Go take a year.
Yeah, that 1 year he did. He sent him to the back and said,
"Go figure this stuff out
and figure this out and figure out how to get a competitive advantage and bring it back to me and let's talk about it." And
and he did.
He sold him on it, and he's been amazing ever since. He's only made the one really glaring error is the picking Rager over Jefferson. It's really the only huge mistake he's made.
Yeah,
but he's made up for.
Yeah.
Since. I mean, he's drafted great. Think about last year's draft. Last year's draft might be one of the greatest Eagles drafts of all time. Hit on Mitchell, it looks like right now. Hit on Cooper right now. And if Hunt, the third pick, continues to make the strides that he's taken, you might have 3 Pro Bowlers.
Yeah.
First 3 picks.
Yep.
It's amazing. I mean, it really is. All right. So let's wrap this up. Keep it short and simple. Anything else you want to discuss here before we wrap it up?
No, nothing. Then I can't. Well, Nick Sirianni doesn't really play any of his star rookies or his starters in preseason, so I'm not sure we're gonna get a look at like Jahad Campbell. But
they're not playing this weekend, though, right? Their first game is next weekend.
This is next week. Yeah, I don't think I saw them on the schedule this weekend, but
yeah.
I'm really interested to see how Jahad Campbell is going to be fitting in at this number 1 pick because
he'll get some play. I think definitely Campbell will play. Yeah,
but where is he going to be?
Campbell's going to play
in the preseason.
Yeah, they have to play him. I mean, he's not going to play a lot, but I think he'll be out there because he's not really a starter yet. I think they have to give him reps.
Okay, well. He's really where my focus is. I can't wait to watch him on the field. That's where my focus is.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
any starters. You might I don't even think Ajomo's going to get much playing time because they already seen him what he could do from last year. Yep. So I really think you're just going to see a bunch of scrubs as usual. But I do think Campbell will get some playing time. I think Trotter will be out there as well. I think all those guys that are competing for the safety job and Like I think Brown will even though he's, I think Brown will definitely be out there. And what's his name when he comes back? I can never remember the freaking guy's name. It's just too young. It's too fresh an Eagle for me to remember his name. You know what it is, though. What's the guy they drafted? The guy's injured.
Andrew Makuba.
Makuba?
You talking about the second round draft pick at safety?
Yeah.
Andrew Makuba.
Makuba, yeah. So he's going to go out playing time because I think that battle is going to be ongoing the whole preseason. All the cornerbacks and those young linebackers. The guy I mentioned, Molden. I think Trotter will get a lot of playing time. I think Campbell will be in there. Not a lot, but I think he definitely will get some action. Maybe just play a quarter. Yeah. And then all the defensive linemen, all the guys that are depth guys, like the guy they drafted out of, Wisconsin? He's going to go out playing time.
He'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, he's going to be fun to watch. I'm very anxious to see him. And plus the guys they picked up in free agency, Alargi, the linebackers they picked up there, from Kansas City and Patriot guy, that the former Patriot and
the former
Chief
Giant
and the former Giant. Those guys are going to get a lot of playing time too, because one of those guys, the former Giant, right? All right. So with that said, again, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll be back next week. We finally got a preseason game to talk about, so we'll get into that a little bit more. We'll see if there's any more further developments for the Eagles between now and then. No show this weekend. I know we've been trying to talk about a Saturday show, but this Saturday we cannot do one. So we'll be back probably midweek next week. Matt, did you have another closing comment?
No, I don't know how to make a number 21 up here, but don't forget to watch Eric Allen get inducted into the Hall of Fame, right?
Thank you. Yes, all Eagle fans, even those, especially those that never got to see Eric Allen play, pay some homage to the greatest Eagles cornerback of all time. And they're really, in my opinion, I know Matt likes Troy Vincent. In my opinion, there's a huge gap between him and anyone else that's ever played cornerback for the Eagles. Pretty significant, in my opinion. But Mitchell might have something to say about that for this career, so I have to say. But anyway, I think Mitchell's even off to he doesn't get the picks right now. But, man, if he starts getting picks like Allen.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, we might have something to talk about. But anyway, Eric Allen, one of my all-time favorite players, all-time favorite Eagles, class act. Make sure you tune in this weekend when he's inducted into the Hall of Fame. And, the Eagles are going to have a nice little run here maybe for the next 5 to 10 years. They got a lot of good players that, Kelsey, right? You got Jason Peters. Those are two guys that are probably going to get in the next few years.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's been a long time before Dawkins got in. It was a long period of time before an Eagle got elected into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But we've had Dawkins, Carmichael, and now Eric Allen in like the last 5 years. So pretty awesome. Anyway, that being said, thanks again for tuning in. And we will see you next week on another episode of Philadelphia Eagles Talk with Geoff. Thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you all next time. And as always, go Birds.
Go Birds.